Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and I am back with my monthly budget setup for the month of August. So this video is going up just the tiniest bit late just because I had to spend a little bit of time trying to reorganize my finances. What I decided to do was to basically move back into a cashless system. And so if you're interested in kind of seeing how I do that and how I transition from cash to cashless, let me know and I'll record a separate video related to that. But I am going to be using an online program in order to track my expenses. And what I've noticed is that, you know, going into cash, I'm just not getting the benefits of using my credit card as much. I do get points back on my credit card, and so moving into cash, I was not getting that benefit. And so I've decided just to go ahead and move back into using my credit card as much as possible, and just keeping in mind like the end dollar amount, so that way I'm not going over my budget. And so that's kind of what we're going to be doing here. And so in terms of setting up my budget, what I like to do when I move back into cashless is basically have a space to track the big categories that I have. And so I've already started setting it up. So the very first thing here is I have my bills sheet. What I decided to do was go ahead and list out all of my bills for the year. And so obviously I have my mortgage, then our phone, internet here, and I guess I should read these amounts. So mortgage is 1,200, T-Mobile is 100, my internet is $60, electricity, gas, and water are the variable expenses, and so I don't have any set prices for that. But these others are like that exact amount, so I just budget that every month. And then I also have our security, which is 73 a month, our pest control, which doesn't happen every month, but I budget 135 a month, and I just kind of set it aside as a sinking fund. Lawn care is $45 a month. Again, that doesn't happen every month, but when it does, then I have a pool or a sinking fund where I pull money out of that. Dropbox is $12, and then I just added this in July, but this is Google. Our Google storage is like maxed out, and so I'm paying $1.99 or $2 a month to get that upgraded. I mean, and then I have this one extra just in case there's any other online services that I am adding. Side note, I just dropped Prime, and so it was due at the very end of July, and I decided just to go ahead and pause my membership. So that was one of the fees that I was kind of saving up for. But because of like some of the other expenses that I had, I decided to go ahead and cancel Prime or pause Prime. And so that's one of the ones where I have been setting aside money for that, but it's not actually being used. So anyway, these are my bills every month, or at least every other month. And I'm thinking about actually laminating this sheet, just because it looks really nice. I like it. It's a nice little tracker for me. I don't necessarily need to know the date that things are getting pulled out. I just need to know that it's happening. And so if I laminate it, I'm able to just kind of mark paid each month and then just wipe it off at the beginning of the month, and just kind of have that. But I do get paid only once a month. And so it pretty much is like the money's there for the entire month to pay these bills. So that's the very first sheet. I'm super excited about this new system with tracking these bills. So that's the first thing. And as I'm flipping through this, I'll just go ahead and tell you too, these pages are like the notes pages from a monthly layout from the Happy Planner. And it's actually the page that has like the other side of it is like the currently page. And I decided just to use like a bunch of like notes pages just because I had these kind of sitting lying around, and I didn't want to like start a new package or anything like that. Okay, now so diving into like the actual breakdown, what I decided to do, I mentioned like this video is coming up a little bit later than I normally would have it. And one of the reasons for that is because since I'm transitioning from cash to cashless, what I decided to do was go through and basically enter all of my expenses from the beginning of the year until now into my system. And so it took a little bit longer than I thought. So what we're going to do is start off with some of my no spend categories. So this very first one is my miscellaneous spending. Actually, I'm not going to start with this one. I'm going to flip to something different. So what we're going to start with is beauty. Now, beauty is a brand new category. I decided to go ahead and create a new category of beauty, and this is like for hair, nails, just things to make myself look pretty. And I thought it would be a good category to add at the end of the year, just because my birthday is coming up, and I might have some like splurges in terms of like massages and spa days and that kind of thing. And so I'm saving up in this category. Now, what I'm going to do for all of these categories is I'm going to make note of what my beginning balance is, or sorry, not the beginning balance, how much I've budgeted year to date and through the end of July. And then I'll have like a total spent through the end of July. And so those will be the first two numbers. I'm going to do it for all these categories. So the very first one is budgeted. All right, again through July 31st. And what I budgeted for beauty, and again, I just started it in July, so it's only had 1 month, was $200. And because I had this new category, I went ahead and like recategorized, like, pulled money from one envelope and moved into a different envelope. And so I've spent in beauty, I'm having to look at my notes. I've already spent $38.92. Okay. And so what that means is I have leftover money from July, and then I'll be adding another $200 for beauty. So let me go ahead and just add. Okay, the budget for August is going to be plus another $200. All right, and then I'll just use this. All these sheets will be used as kind of a running expense log. Again, I don't necessarily need to track when I spend a certain dollar amount. I just need to know that it's kind of like on track with where I think it should be. And what I'm going to do is kind of separate this, as you can see here. I'll just use this as kind of a running log. Eventually, I'll just total it up. I don't have to total it up after every single purchase, but I need to be able to kind of eyeball it and know that I'm still in like there's still money in this category. And so at some point I'll like start totaling it up, and then like I'll be able to use a 2-column kind of system here. And since it's only just the front page, once I finish this sheet, I'm going to pull in another sheet and just kind of like pick up that like expense for that category starting on a new sheet. And so the goal here is, again, just to keep everything kind of in categories still, and have a running log for each category. All right, so beauty. I am going to total this up right here, so that way I do know this total at the beginning of August. And I might just total like once a month or like once a week. Maybe I'll do it once a week. That makes more sense, right? So 200 minus the 38 that I've already spent through the end of July, right? And then I'll add 200. So right now I have 361 and 8 cents. Okay, so that's beauty. Again, brand new category for me. The next one is car. Car is for car maintenance. And so the budgeted amount through the end of July, again, like January, like my monthly budget from January all the way through July was, let's see, let me take a look here, $525. Right, and this category what came with me from January all the way through, and I've been putting in $75 each month. So 75 times the 7 is 525. What I've spent in this category all the way through the end of July has been, let's see, again, this is all like the numbers that I've pulled from like transferring it over from transitioning into a new system, right, is $79.51. And then for August, again, it'll just add in another $75. Okay, and so that total now is going to be 525 minus 51, and then plus, all right, let's start over. Okay, 525 minus, right, plus 75 equals. Okay, so that is going to be 520.49. Okay, one of the benefits of using like a cashless system is like you get all the cents, every single dollar accounted for. Okay, next one is education. Education is where I get all my licensing, professional fees, all the stuff that I do for work and for education, buying books, things like that, for my job. All right, so budgeted through the end of July. I put in every month. It's changed. Like this category, like I seeded it in 1 month, and then like there was it was all over the place. So anyway, with all that, just kind of like additional money that I was adding in here, I basically have since or through the end of July, I've budgeted $930 for education. What I've spent in education, I spend just as much, I feel like, in education. What I've spent in education is, like $691.81. Oh, sorry. I can't even talk and write at the same time. So $691.83. So I'm trying to keep it pretty consistent here. So let me wipe this out. All right, so I'm minusing $691.83. 83 cents. All right, and then the budget for August is $30. So we'll add 30 in here. All right, and then let's total this up again. Okay, 930 minus 691. I can't believe I've spent $600, almost $700 on like professional fees. All right, the total here is 200. Oops. Again, I cannot write and talk at the same time. Okay, so 268.17. Okay, so that's it for education. Hopefully that will last through the end of the year. I have a couple of other education fees coming up. Okay, so the next one is food. Food has gotten $200 every month since the beginning of the year. So budgeted through the end of July has been $1,400. Again, $200 each month, right? And I've spent through the end of July, I have spent, let's see, $1,402.14. You can see here I'm over by $2.14 at the very end of July. But I knew that like I was going to be like flipping over into August. So I went ahead and just went over just by a couple of dollars. Okay, so the budget here for August is adding another $200, right? So let's total this up. 1,400 minus the 1,402, 14, and then plus 200 is 197.86. All right, so that is my total for food for going into August is just a little less than $200. Okay, so gas again has changed since the very beginning of the year. I went ahead and increased it. I did seed it a little bit with some extra like tax money, things like the stimulus check, but then I also increased it just because gas is so much more expensive now. And so gas, I have been able to, or like I've budgeted from January through the end of July, I've budgeted $525, and I've spent through the end of July a lot. Okay, so it's $459.27, right? And then I will be adding for August the normal amount of $75, which is the increase that I have. It was 60 at the very beginning of the year, but now it's 75 each month. All right, so 525 minus the 459.27 plus 75, all right, is 140.73. And this month I do start back at work, so that money might just disappear very quickly once I start driving again. And again, just now that I've gone through a couple of categories, if you want to see how I'm calculating the numbers themselves, these numbers are coming from my new digital app that I'm using. So I spent, again, like pretty much a whole week transferring all these numbers into the digital app, so that way I can have these like dollars and cents. Okay, next one, gifts. All right, gifts has been getting $100 every month. All right, so the budgeted amount through the end of July has been $700. And I've spent through the end of July, let's see how much I've spent. I have spent $491.08. Gifts covers birthdays, holidays, like the minor holidays, and also like I need to increase this dollar amount because I need money for Christmas. So the budgeted amount, I won't increase it this month, but it'll probably be next month that I increase it. I'll leave it at $100 for this month, and again, probably will go up by another $100 to $200 in September. So I'm budgeting $100 for the month of August. So let's see where we stand at the beginning of the month. Minus the $491.08 plus $1. Right, so that means that we have $308.92. Actually, I'm looking at that dollar amount. Maybe I'll leave it at 100 still. I don't anticipate any big gifts between now and Christmas, so we should be okay with that dollar amount. We'll see. I might like get really crafty and like have like DIY type gifts. Okay, so next is health. Health was a category that I had a larger amount in, and then I decreased it just because we weren't using it as much, and then I had to increase it because of some health issues in the summer, and now it's back down to its normal dollar amount. So with all that being said, from January through the end of July, I have budgeted $130. And this does not include, by the way, like insurance or FSA, HSA accounts that we already have that I don't even see that money. It just gets pulled out of my bank account, out of my paycheck before I even get that money. So I don't budget or account for that, those amounts that are already pulled out. So we do already have money for like copays and things like that, separate as well. So the like overage, the amount that I've budgeted for over those FSA, HSA amounts is $130. And this also covers like just medications and things that we buy at like a Walgreens or whatever. So that's $130. What we spent in health through the end of July has been $119.80, right? And then we're adding for August another $10. Okay, so let's total that up. Minus $119.80 plus the $10. That is $20 basically. Okay, for health. Wait, that does not look good. We're gonna have to increase that eventually, I think. Probably for 2022. Okay, so the next one is home. Home is like just like home decor, home goods, that kind of thing. This is kind of like a category that I wasn't really budgeting for at the beginning of the year, but I decided to go ahead and add it just because I am buying kind of like knickknacks for the house. And so between the time I started, which was probably like April through the end of July, we have put in $45 for home decor, and I've spent through the end of July, through that same kind of time frame, $14.43. All right, oops, shouldn't have totaled that. All right, I guess I will since I already drew the line, which is $30.57. Right, and then the budget for August is $15. Right, so I'll add that here, and that leaves us with $45 for home decor. Right, so that's awesome. I probably need less in home and more in like health, but okay. So house repairs is actually a brand new category for me. I realized that like my husband wrote a check for something and I didn't know what it was, and it was actually to fix something at the house, like our garage door. And I realized that I didn't actually have a house repairs category, which is surprising. You really should have one if you're a homeowner, just FYI. Even if you're not a homeowner, you should just have a category related to home repairs. I did some research related to what the dollar amount should be, and you should really be around like the rule of thumb is like 5% of your estimated house, like the price of your house. And so that's 5%. I'm just gonna put like a random amount for right now, just to kind of build this up, and then I'll like once it gets to a certain amount, I'm hoping like it'll be close to like $5,000. Once I hit $5,000, then I can like use that 5% to estimate how much I should be putting in each month. But for right now, this is a brand new category. It started in July. It actually wasn't even budgeted. I just had to pull some money and just kind of shift some money around from savings to cover this. But the 1 month that we had it, I decided to kind of start it off at $600. Okay. And then we were hit with like this giant like fee. And it was the garage door. Plus we've also had to pay our property tax, which again, I haven't been budgeting for. So we have spent a ton of money in the month of July. And that amount is $1,267 and $2. And so again, I'm just trying to build this up right now. What I'm going to budget in August is going to be $300. Hopefully they'll like clear out this like red. It's definitely in the red. I know that just from those two like unanticipated. I had no plans to have these dollar amounts here, that kind of thing. So this is definitely negative, right? So right now it's negative $367.02. All right, and it'll take a couple of months for that to like be back in the black. So that's house repairs. Hopefully we don't get dinged with anything between now and the next couple of cycles of money. All right, so music is something I have not spent for the entire year. I did budget for it, knowing that I'll eventually come back to my choirs, but that won't pick up until this month actually. So I'll use most of this money this month. But the budgeted amount is $10 each month. So through the end of July, it was $70, and I have spent none of it in that time, right? And so again, it will get $10 this month. Right, so I have $80. I can at least do that math in my head, right? And I'll probably use all $80 by the end of this month, right? So just stay tuned for that. All right, next one is, I'll actually save this one. This is one of my no spin categories. So school is for basically paying for anything related to Sophia. And so again, this dollar amount has changed quite a bit. We are getting the child care the $300 for her. And so that money goes in here to pay for some of that stuff too, which is good because we ended up, I mentioned this in one of my previous budget videos, that we decided just to go ahead and pay all of her tuition like up front. And so I'll continue budgeting for it, but you'll see that it's in the red. We're not paying tuition, which is the largest chunk of this money. So that's there. Okay, so this money has fluctuated across the 7 months we've been budgeting for it, but the budgeted amount total through all 7 months is $44.80, and we've spent through the end of the month, again, like including like a giant, like we paid for the entire next academic year, which hasn't even started yet. We've paid the 10 months of tuition already to get the discount. We've paid that dollar amount in the amount spent here, but what we have spent in daycare is $7,330.96. And then the budgeted amount, I was going to like reduce this amount, but I decided just to leave it the same, and just make adjustments once we round out the school year. And so that won't be adjusted until 2022. And so this dollar amount at this point is going to be in the negative, as I mentioned already, 730.96. But this money just helps us with like, paying for any additional fees that she has. She wants to start some after school care programs, that kind of thing. And right now it's in the negative. We'll just kind of like, I'll just leave it like that. And hopefully that will balance out. Again, the $300 is also going in here. So it should be like $27.50. But I did minus out $300 that we got in July for that dollar amount. Okay. We're getting towards the end here. Okay. So Sophia is the next category. Okay, what I've budgeted for her through the end of July, she gets $20 every month for her allowance. And so what she has budgeted so far is the $140. And what she has spent through the end of July is $150.24. Now that dollar amount, just so you know that, why it's over is I normally try to keep her right under her dollar amount, but I did tell her that she could go ahead and purchase, like she's been saving up, quote unquote, for a big like toy. And I told her to go ahead and buy it. Like I took her to buy it a week early just because I knew it was the end of July moving into August. And so it was in the negative for a little while, but that is basically because I knew that she would roll over $20 from August, or like get her $20 allowance in August. And so now it's back in the correct range, in the positive, right? So she gets another $20 here for August. And what she has left is 140 minus the 150.24 plus the $20 is 976. I can't read and write. Right, so 976. And that's how much she has for August, which means she's not going to be spending anything. All right. Travel again took a huge hit in the month of July, just because I decided to go ahead and pay off some like pending charges that I had for like vacation that we have at the very end of the year. And so that you'll see that be in the negative too. So the budgeted amount has changed. Like I went ahead and put extra money into this from stimulus check money and from like extra income. And then I reduced the amount. Anyway, it's been kind of like fluctuating. But what we have budgeted for travel across the 7 months has been $18.75. And what we have spent, again, at the end of July, I went ahead and just like zeroed out, like paid off the balance for several trips that we are taking. And so the dollar amount here is 1956.94. And again, I did that knowing that I would get some money in August to kind of offset that amount, right? And so what I'm putting in August is $105, which I know is a weird amount. And so that 105 means that the total here going into August is the 1875 minus 1956.94 plus the 105 means that I have $23.06. Now, for travel, just so you know this, I'm going to have to go ahead and pay like another trip all the way off, like just go ahead and pay it the balance in full. So this will be very, very negative for the next couple of months. And so I'm pulling from savings from my buffer account just to pay this off. But I like to like leave it categorized as travel for the time being. All right, and so that is it for all of my categories. I'm gonna go ahead and show you two. It's kind of a longer video, but for 2021, I had 3 no spend categories. It was just miscellaneous shopping, Amazon, and planner supplies. And what I did for basically shopping and Amazon, I decided to combine them. Basically, all my shopping is on Amazon, and that's pretty much it. And so this is a no spend category. And so what that means is that I budget no money towards this category. It's at 0, and so for every month from January until July has been at 0. And I've actually spent money in this area, and I don't have the dollar amount here. But what has happened is that I have spent money, but I've always like returned items in order to get money, or like pulled cash and things like that, or like not cash, like rewards and points and things like that in order to offset the price here. So it's always stayed at 0. But one of the things that I did in July was went ahead and cashed out all of my points on my credit card. And again, this is why I decided to transition back from cash into cashless, just because I can get these reward points. And so I went ahead and cashed out or like redeemed all of my points for my credit card. And so I have like a chunk of money that I'm putting right here into like miscellaneous shopping, something that's not accounted for in any of the other categories. And so this is not really spent, but this is like the cash back through the end of July has been let's see, $283.80, and I haven't spent it really. I just cashed it out just so I can have that dollar amount. So that's the dollar amount here, and so that's the money that I have going into the beginning of August is $283.80. Now you're probably going to ask, like, why don't I take that money and put it into one of these other categories? And I can totally do that. I just haven't done it yet. So right now I'm just leaving it as like my buffer for anything that I have going on. I do have money in the bank to cover all of the other expenses, including the stuff that's in the negative, things that I've gone over the budget for. But if I run into any issues, this money will definitely be pulled out and put into a different category. But right now it's right at like $280 for that. And then planners is also the very last category here, is also a zero no spend category, right? I don't budget anything. My goal for 2021 was to spend nothing in planners, and nothing in the sense of like I spend, but I also like try to earn enough money to offset the cost. So I can buy new things, but I have to make enough money back for that. And so for this dollar amount, it has been at 0 for the budget. And I'm going to go ahead, because just like the calculation here is going to be a little bit interesting. I have of course spent, but I've also like destashed enough so that way I'm not like over in this category. And what I have left at this point, like the balance through the end of July, is $31.68. All right, so this is how much money I have right now in this planners category. Again, what I do is destash, and in fact, just so you know this, I've mentioned this in previous videos, but what I do is try to destash enough, like $200 worth, so that way I can have that $200 to go straight into my travel fund and to like funnel into some of these other categories. And then anything above that $200 is what lands in here. So if I make $201, that extra $1 goes here and gets added to my balance to be able to be spent on planner supplies. So that's my breakdown of what everything I have going on in terms of my categories, and the dollar amounts that I have right now for all of my categories look like at the beginning of August. What I'll be doing is probably updating semi-regularly. I'm not really sure. But this is going to be kind of a transition period, transition month for me to move back into cashless. So we'll see how that goes. And we'll see if it even works. I might decide that I need to go back to using only cash just because, you know, I can tangibly, like, I have the money, I can see that it's being reduced. But I also think that this might work because I can see it like getting really, really close to zero here, and I need to be a little bit more aware of spending more money or like over this $31 for planners. So I'm hoping this works out. This is a little bit different than keeping like a checkbook register or like, you know, just a line item like breakdown of all of your expenses, because it's already categorized, and I'm hoping that this will work for me to already have it categorized and I can just put it right on this sheet. And so it'll be a specific checkbook register just for this category, and I can see the dollar amount kind of like being subtracted. So it's very similar to like if you're using cash envelopes, what you would use on like the back of the envelope to kind of track how much money should be in the envelope, but just without the cash. It's just helpful for me. It holds me accountable for where my spending is. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. And until the next video, bye guys.